Hello everyone, back to tuning in to today's third and final video. We're going to have a look at weather next 10 to 14 days for today's third video. So day 10 is going to take us to around the 22nd of August. We'll be able to extend out beyond that. We'll extend it GFS and ECM ensembles over around a couple of weeks. Have a look at CFS V2 at the end of the video for the next 4 weeks, which will take us into the early part of September. I shall get on that for you very shortly. Just say that the first video release day was our 7 AM forecast. We also released a European Outlook. The European Outlook was on Thursday. That's been released too, so check that one out. Very, very hot temperatures coming up to southern Europe again. Dangerous heat wave goes on, so see what's going on there with the European Outlook. And now I'm doing a 10 to 14 day for you, and I'm going to get on that right now. Please like, share, subscribe on all of the videos if you're enjoying. Thank you so much for doing that. We're going to put on around number 55, just under, subscribers to get to 11.8k. So you know, putting on subs every day. Thank you so much everybody for doing this. And yeah, 11.8k is our next mini target. Maybe 12k is like the ultimate target. So very exciting times. Right, okay, let's turn off the webcam then, and we'll have a look at what's going on in the tropical Atlantic. First of all, so we've got a tropical depression and also a disturbance area. Let's deal with the disturbance area first of all. This yellow X just here is in fact disturbance 1 with a 30% chance of cyclone formation in the next 48 hours, but a 60% chance, that's been raised from yesterday, chance of cyclone formation in the next 5 days. They're saying showers and thunderstorms remain disorganised in association with a tropical wave located around 1,500 miles east of the Lesser Antilles. Environmental conditions are expected to gradually become more conducive for development, and a tropical depression could form by early next week while the system moves generally westward at about 20 miles per hour across the tropical Atlantic. This system is expected to reach portions of the Leeward Islands late Saturday and early Sunday. So that might become a tropical storm. I have to keep a close eye on that. And then we've also got tropical depression Fred, which is giving maximum sustained winds of 35 miles per hour with a minimum central pressure of 1,010 millibars. And Fred is moving west-northwestwards at 16 miles per hour. This has gone down from a tropical storm to a tropical depression as it's heading towards Cuba. Let's just have a look at the forecast for this depression. So tropical depression Fred is going to give a glancing blow to the north coast of Cuba. So it's exiting Dominican Republic and Haiti, and moving in that direction. Now, as Fred begins to move out into sort of open, so at the moment it's on the shore, and that's why it's kind of like a tropical depression, weakened a bit. As Fred moves out into the wider waters of the tropical Atlantic and Caribbean, Fred will go back to a tropical storm if forecast is correct over the weekend, and give a direct impact to Florida. And then tropical storm Fred will move into the Gulf of Mexico through the weekend into the early part of next week, and looks to make landfall somewhere here around the Alabama, Georgia coast. At the moment being forecast to be no stronger than a tropical storm, but I think in this area just here, especially if Fred pulls away from the coast of the Florida Panhandle, I think in this area here, we probably have to watch out for Fred maybe going up to a Category 1 hurricane. It just depends whether this storm continues to be like on the coast, you know, in which case then some of the energy will be dissipated, or whether it gets into open waters. If it does so, I won't totally rule out chance this might go up to a Category 1 hurricane. But in any case, it's going to be quite a nasty system, making landfall Florida over the weekend, and then into that Gulf Coast of southeastern America around Alabama to Georgia during the early part of next week. Right, coming back home, this south-central temperature is looking. The CT is currently standing at 16.2, just 0.3 of a degree above average. That is provisional to yesterday, the 11th of August. That's probably going to hover around there. I don't think it'll move greatly from that sort of level. Might tick up a little bit into the weekend, then early next week will probably tick down a little bit. I think low to mid 16s is where we're going to be by the middle of August, and then of course we're waiting to see what happens after that. These are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles. Next couple of weeks, we're at London again today. So red line is a 30-year upper air temperature average for London. So we're starting off close to average to a little bit above average at the moment. Over weekend into the early part of next week, we're going cooler than average. Now, you remember like a week ago, the third week of August was being indicated to be like quite a warm, maybe even relatively hot week. Now, we're talking cooler than average, actually, for large portions of next week. Week before that, it's like the second week of August. That was going to go very warm to hot. We know we haven't done that, of course. We're in the second week of August right now. It definitely isn't overly hot. So, week by week, this warm-up is being pushed back. And now you can see from the GFS ensembles that it's actually like the last week of August, this period just here in the extended range, last week of August is being predicted to become very warm to hot. So, week by week, we push this back from week 1 to week 2, to week 2 to week 3, and now from week 3 to week 4, seemingly. So, the final week of August is now being predicted to potentially get quite hot with the GFS ensembles. There are some cool outlier members just here, including today's midnight operational run, which I'll show you in a second. But you can see clearly there is a warming trend going on through the last week of August, because the white line is the ensemble meeting, and that's lifting up above the 30-year average. And there are some really quite hot ensemble members. The only question I would ask about this is whether it will actually verify, because week by week we have been pushing this warm up back, and like I say, this time last week it was going to be the third week of August that was going to get hot, and now the third week of August is actually looking cooler than average. So whether we ever get to this in the final week of August, we should wait and see. I suppose at some point we will have to get a warm up at some point. Some high pressure. It might happen in the last week of August, but I'm going to stay cautious on it. I think for the time being, precipitation wise, a fair amount of dry weather over the next few days. We'll tell a little bit more showery next week as we go into this cooler interlude. But overall, that's a relatively dry ensemble, actually, for London. I think areas northern western areas will be more unsettled than that, though. Temperature anomalies on the 12th to the 20th of August are going to be a little bit above average in England and Wales, near normal in the north. It's not a big deviation anywhere, really. So yeah, not deviating all that far from average. Precipitation anomalies from the 12th to 20th of August. Most areas looking a bit drier than average, more particularly so in the south, and also for eastern parts of northeastern. But generally, it's quite a dry week coming up. Latest wind flow map from earthnullschool.net shows that low pressure is dominating weather at the moment, just to the west of Scotland, and that's bringing in a weather system and some quite strong winds, actually, to northern and western parts of the country. Check out today's 7 a.m. forecast for more about today's winds. Right, at that point, I think we're going to put the webcam back on. There we go, I've returned. And we're going to have a look at some generic charts. So I'm going to start off with the UK Met from the weather outlook for midnight on Sunday, where we've got low pressure to west of Ireland. Relatively warm in the south, but it is turning a bit cooler in the north. That low pressure then clears away through the early part of next week and turns wind into the north, so we go cool and showery through the early part of next week. And then the situation next week, it's a case of whether we reach this high pressure in or not. The UK Met is generally keeping that high pressure centre just to our west, which keeps winds in sort of from a northwesterly type direction. So, I mean, it's going to be relatively settled next week, quite dry, but it won't be a heat wave, as the wind coming around that high pressure is coming from the North Atlantic. There is an area of low pressure developing to the north of Scotland, close to Iceland. We need to keep a close eye on that. I'll show you the reason why in a second. So this is the GFS, that's as far as we go with UK Met. This is the GFS midnight run. This is going to be quite cool, as you know from seeing the GFS ensembles a moment ago. Right, so Sunday, low pressure is to west of Ireland. We're starting to draw in some quite cool air to the north, but it's relatively warm down in the south. By the early part of next week, this is Monday, low pressure is in the North Sea, and we're pulling in a cool and showery northwesterly wind. And then we keep those cool, showery northwesterly to northerly winds, actually, almost, you know, do turn wind into the north there, through the middle part of next week. So that looks quite cool and unsettled, especially for central, eastern, and northern areas. And then in the second half of the week, that low pressure moves away. We do get this ridge building in from the west, but the high pressure is actually still centred in mid-Atlantic ridge. So it settles down probably through the second half of next week, but will stay relatively cool, particularly so at night, I would have thought. And then we get this next sort of trough digging in from the north as we move up towards day 10, and that actually develops into an area of low pressure. So by day 10, the GFS midnight run, which is 22nd of August, of course, by day 10, GFS midnight run is looking really quite unsettled and cool with low pressure over the country. We just keep it cool and showery and unsettled, really, into the last week of August with this GFS run. Remember, at this point, the GFS ensembles are generally getting hotter, but the operational run is not doing that. And eventually, we start to roll this low in by the very end of the GFS run, which gets us to Bank Holiday weekend. That is the 28th of August. If that came off, then watch out for a washout Bank Holiday weekend. It is like 2 weeks away, so I wouldn't be overly worried about it. And if we go back here, we can see that at this point, many of the GFS ensemble members are actually going quite hot. But there we go. You know, the operational GFS run is signaling a little bit of a washout. By the way, we will be starting Bank Holiday weekend updates. Can you believe this? Over weekend, that'll be for the last Bank Holiday, you know, of the season. They'll be coming up on Saturday, I think, do the first one. So, yeah, exciting times there. Right, okay, so that's the midnight run. This is how the GFS 6Z is looking. Again, Sunday, low pressure tinging in from the north, rather cool and showery for northern areas, quite warm down in the south. Early next week, we're all into that cooler push of northwesterly winds, could be a bit showery for northern eastern areas as well. The 6Z then keeps high pressure sort of centred to our west, but does send a ridge into the UK, so we'll be relatively dry next week, but temperatures will be a little bit on the low side, I think. And then, again, heading up towards day 10, we start to push this trough down from the north. It just sort of renews the northerly and turns us pretty cool and showery, actually, by day 10. Again, that is 22nd of August. We're into like a cool, showery, northerly wind. And, you know, there's high pressure out to the northwest, but actually that does look a little bit grim, I have to say, at day 10, especially for more northern and eastern areas. In the extended range, sort of hints of northern blocking as well, really. High pressure, like to the north of Scandinavia, so around Svalbard, originally down towards Iceland. And we just keep that sort of cool, showery, northerly type influence going. Right at the very end, the 6Z does get there. This is the 28th of August. So that ridge has now formed it's dropped southwards and is forming quite a warm ridge. So the 6Z does eventually get there with much warmer, drier weather into the Bank Holiday weekend. Totally at odds with the operational midnight run, of course, but it's probably more in line with the GFS ensembles. But again, this is being pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. So whether we ever get to this, we just have to wait and see, I think. GM looks like this. If you're enjoying this video, then please can you like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. And drop a comment after the video and let us know what you think. This is how the GM is looking. So again, Sunday, we're quite warm in the south, actually, on Sunday, but cooler in the north. By the early part of next week, by Monday, we're all into like a cool and showery northerly wind, and then cool, showery northwesterly to northerlies into the middle part of next week, before it all goes rather slack as we move up towards day 10, trying to raise the heights from the Azores high at day 10, but still with low pressure out to our northwest. That's one of those charts that could go in either direction. Really, you could strengthen the Azores high, or you could just roll that low pressure in over the top. So that's one of those that, you know, is in between, could go in either direction. And then the ECM looks like that. Again, relatively warm in the south on Sunday, cooler though up in the north. Through the early part of next week, rolling into those cool and showery northwesterly to northerly type winds. They carry on into the middle part of next week as well. Relatively cool, relatively showery conditions. Right at the very end again, the ECM is building in this ridge at day 10. So settling things down and starting to look a little bit warmer as we move towards the final week of August. We may be seeing signs here of a warm up for the final week of August, but again, given what's happened this month, the way I've been pushing this back week by week, I think we need to stay cautious on it for the time being. Next week it's looking relatively cool and at times quite showery. Right, okay, so this is how the precipitation type forecast is looking based on that ECM run from tameteo.com. So, showery conditions, particularly for more northern and western areas, a little bit of rain getting through into south and southeast at times. Winds in from the north will keep the temperature suppressed well into middle of next week. Later on, up towards day 10, we start trying to raise the heights from the Azores, but even then, not completely settled, still some showery rain, especially for more northern and western areas. But down in the south, we would be lifting the pressure and also starting to warm the temperature up a little bit. Right, okay, we'll turn webcam off and we'll have a look at the options on the table within the ECM ensembles for day 10. These are them. So, this is from the Icelandic Met Office, gets us to the 22nd of August. 16 members of the ECM ensembles have high pressure over to the North Country, and we bring in easterly winds. That can be mainly dry and quite warm. 15 will have high pressure away to our west-northwest with a trough in over Scandinavia, and so that's be relatively settled, but will be a bit cooler with winds sort of from a north-easterly direction. That does include the operational run. 12 with high pressure away to the northwest. That's going to be relatively settled. Could be bringing in rather cool northeasterlies though. And then 8 just here have high pressure sort of over Scotland and going towards Scandinavia, and that would bring in potentially quite a warm easterly flow. Could be some lower pressure to the south with that, maybe threatening some rain to southern areas. Does look as though most of the options are involving high pressure at day 10, but the exact position and placement of the ridge is going to be critical, of course. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. This would get us to the 27th of August, moving into the bank holiday weekend, of course. So we've got 18 members of the ECM ensembles with a large area of high pressure over country. Going to be mostly dry and quite warm with that. 13 will have high pressure just a little bit to our south. Low pressure so towards Greenland, Iceland. Still mainly dry with that, but could be a bit of influence from the jet stream, especially for Scotland. 10 have got northern blocking and low pressure underneath. So that's going to be like the midnight GFS run, I think. That midnight GFS operational run. We've got 10 ECM ensemble members going in that direction, looking cool and wet into the bank holiday period. And then we've got 10 down here with high pressure just to our east and drawing in potentially a very warm, maybe even quite hot southeasterly wind. So we might turn hot over the bank holiday weekend or for the bank holiday weekend. But again, just re-emphasising that through this month we have been week by week by week pushing back this change to drier, warmer weather. So caution, I think, is the optimum word about all of this for the time being. Last thing we're going to look at is the CFS V2. So these are 500 millibar heights broken down into weekly periods. The first weekly period is going to take us from the 12th to the 18th of August. The coming week we'll have high pressure across many parts of Europe. That's bringing the heat wave, of course, from North Africa. So the heat wave being triggered by this bubble of high pressure. So looking hot really across many parts of Europe. For us in the northwest, we're a little bit more unsettled as we're between the two ridges. Now we go through to week 2, and these CFS wants to build up high pressure. This is the 19th, 25th of August, so high pressure then dominates across northern Europe. Will be mainly dry and potentially very warm, possibly even hot if that comes off. Lower pressure in this southern and southeastern part of Europe will bring relief for the heat wave there. And then we go through to week 3, which will be the 26th of August to the 1st of September. High pressure right over top of the UK at this point, and northern Europe will be mainly dry. Winds probably coming in from a east-northeast direction, not necessarily guaranteed to be excessively hot, but should be quite warm, and classic sort of late summer weather with that. And then finally, week 4 carries on the high pressure. So into September, the CFS wants to continue this high pressure fest, which is proceeded into the 8th of September. Again, high pressure centred right over top, or just to the east of the country And again, we'll be bringing in with that warm easterly winds if that comes off. The exact origins of the air, very important by the time you get to September, as to whether you can generate, real heat, or whether it's just going to be pleasantly warm. And I think that would be more sort of pleasantly warm, because there doesn't seem to be like a southerly source to the airstream with that. So I think the wind is kind of east, with the origins a little bit north of these, actually. So I wouldn't expect that to be excessively hot, but would be pleasant, under high pressure, temperatures into the low, maybe mid-20s Celsius, low humidity, misty nights, that kind of thing that you expect in early summer. But again, though, whether we get to this high pressure in the end, ultimately, as it continues to be pushed back week by week remains to be seen. Right, so if you enjoyed the video, please go smash the like button. Make sure to subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. For GavsWeatherVids, drop a comment and let us know what you think about this and all of our videos. Don't forget to tell your friends and family to subscribe as well. As I said at the start, we've got to put on around 55, just under, subscribers now to get to 11.8k. So we put on around 10 subscribers a day, which isn't bad for this time of year. That's pretty good. Pretty good, actually. So, yeah, please give us a sub and tell your friends and family to subscribe as well. And we're going to get ourselves to 12,000 subscribers as quick as we can. And when we do get to 12,000 subscribers, we're going to do a giveaway. We'll either give away some merch or an Amazon voucher. And when we get to 11.8k, I'll let everyone know what we do. Right, so that's it for today's video. Just tell you what's coming up tomorrow. So we're going to have GMA Friday, of course. Have a 7 AM broadcast. GMA Friday, 10 to 14 days. I think we'll release the ECM 42 day forecast tomorrow as well. We sometimes do that Saturday morning or Fridays. I think we'll do it Friday this week because Saturday, as I say, we've got to start our bank holiday updates. So yeah, busy times ahead. But tomorrow, quite a bit going on, and particularly focusing on like the extended 30-day to 6-week range. Right, that's it. You enjoy the rest of your Thursday. I shall see you tomorrow. And for this one, that's all for now. And thanks for watching.